Hey friends, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kevin.
And today we are at the property and we are building and putting in a new gate for the driveway.
And we're going to put in a 16-foot gate with two 6x6 posts. And we're actually not going to use concrete. We're going to use some foam to hold them in. Let's see if that works.
I question how good that's going to be, but it'll be fun to try something new.
It will, yes. Come along for the ride.
Let's get started.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out where we want the post. One of the things I have here is I have a tree. So when the gate is at a 90-degree angle and open, I don't want it hitting the tree and running into the tree because I'm going to have an automatic opener on it eventually. So I need to make sure that a 90-degree from here does not interfere with that particular tree. So I'm going to have to, originally I was thinking about having it over here, but that doesn't allow the gate to go all the way. I'm going to have it out a little further, which means I might have to back it up a little bit because I want to have plenty of room getting in. I'm thinking maybe that here might be better. What I need to probably do is get my speed square and lay it down on the ground. Right where this flag is going to be the center of my post hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rake some of this rock back. I'm going to dig a post hole right here where this flag is. Then I'm going to go over, and once I have the center of that, I'm going to remeasure just to make sure that I'm relatively in the right distance apart. And then we will go from there, because even though the gate's 16 feet, from the center of the hole is not the center, because you've got a 6-inch thing. So you're 3 inches off automatically. So if you just go 16 feet, you got to make sure there's a full 16 feet plus in between the two pieces. So we'll dig this hole first. Okay, so we're getting ready to dig this post hole. You want to have your auger as straight up and down as you can when you start. So now what I need to do is I need to see how deep this goes. I need a regular measuring tape because I need to have it. These posts are 10 feet tall, so I want to have 3.5 to 4 feet in the ground, and I just want to kind of look and see how far it digs down before I should have measured. What I should have done is measured my auger, which I'm assuming is about 36 inch or about 42 inches.
That is a pretty nice little post hole digger.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
What I'm doing now is I'm just getting an idea where I want that gate to lay when it opens up all the way.
So we're using a string
to give us a straight line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get this squared up where it needs to be so it's level going in and out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that stake based on that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go get the post hole level. What I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to take a 2x4. I'm going to screw it up to the side of this, and I'm going to do one on the other back as well, so that what I can do is put stakes in and hold it into place once I have it leveled up. So I'm just going to screw these in so this will move. I can still move it up and down a little bit, but it will give me a way to get it set. So I can still move it up and down, do one on the back. Okay, so I'm going to put some shrink wrap around the post, and the reason for that is I want this to be somewhat decorative of a post, and I'm going to stain it. And the foam that we're going to use to put in the bottom, if it's anything like the spray foam out of the cans, if it gets on something, it just looks nasty. So I'm going to kind of put it around this upper part, so if it expands up too high, we can cut it off, but then it doesn't leave gooey nastiness on the post itself. Okay, so what I'm getting ready to do is put the foam around the post. So with these bags of Post Fix, what you're supposed to do is roll this up until it breaks the seal, mix it for 15 seconds, kind of like on the edge of something like the tractor bucket, cut the edge, and then go ahead and dump it in the hole. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get some gloves on, because if you've ever had that other spray foam get on your hand, it like takes a month to come off. I also recommend that you wear safety glasses as well. Okay.
How did you know how many to put on?
There's a chart. I'm going to start off with 2. So I need to see just how much that's going to expand. I might have to have more.
I don't know if you can see it on this video, but it is expanding all the way up this hole. It is so cool. It is really expanding a lot. You can see it just growing up the pole. That's really cool. That's incredible. It's a good thing you only put 2 in.
Yeah, I know. I figured I wanted to wait and see.
That is so cool and so much easier than concrete.
We are ready to dig our next post hole. We ran a string across to make sure that it was squared up with where we wanted it to be. That little flag represents where the tip of the auger is going to go in. Okay, so one of the things that your PTO implements have is a shear bolt. Those shear bolts will shear before, if it hits something really hard. Apparently there's a rock or something down there because the shear bolt went. So I'm going to go to the store and get about 5 shear bolts because I didn't have any extras.
All right, so the tractor's fixed and we just did the second hole. We're ready to put in the second post.
All right, so we got this one in, so we're getting ready to do the foam again. So I'm gonna get this covered up with some of this plastic sheeting.
We are continuing to work on the gate. We are now ready to move to the next step. It is the next day because this is taking a bit longer than we anticipated, which is what happens with most of our projects. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go ahead and wrap the posts in cellophane because we are gonna paint the gate black and we don't wanna have to deal with getting any paint on anything. Teamwork makes the dream work. So our next step is going to be to install the gate now that we have the one pole covered.
So what I'm gonna have to do is put this lag bolt in on the bottom, and this is the most important one. It determines the height off the bottom. So I'm having her hold it up. I'm marking it with a marker. I'm gonna center it. I'm gonna pre-drill a hole, and then I'm gonna sink this in. If you look at this gate, this one actually can go up and down. What I'm doing is I'm checking the level of the outside of this to the outside, and it is level. So that's down all the way. So hopefully we'll put it on the bottom. We'll push this up into the next one, and then we'll tighten it up and we'll check the level of the gate going across. All right, so obviously I need a nap. So I told you I was going to measure to put this so it came down. And I measured so I put it on the bottom, going up. So I'm not sure what that is. But also disappointed in this foam. See that? See that movement right there? It may not come out of the ground this way, but it's not going to hold it straight. When I put the gate on, it caused it to lean in about a ½ inch from the top. Also, another thing disappointing about the foam. Had this one in, put that one in, right? Had it staked out. The foam actually pushed it this way. So now I don't even have the gate clearance that I want. Not really excited at the moment. So the moral of the story is I would avoid using the foam if you're gonna put a gate in, and just go ahead and get cement. But we're gonna make it work. All right, so I just used a serrated knife to take off the extra foam, which I'm not real happy with, but I cut the tops off, so now I just covered it in with dirt. All right, so the gate's up, but I'm not super happy with it. I got to figure out a couple ways to keep it straight this way and straight this way as it comes around. Still got a little bit of work to do to figure that out. I've got a couple ideas, and we'll see what happens here. All right, so I've got a couple of issues with the gate. One, the hinges don't hold super tight, so it kind of leans down. Two, I use the foam, and the foam's got a little bit of flexibility in it. It's not bad, but basically when I open the gate, though, the gate tilts down. So what I'm going to do is put a wheel on the bottom. That's number one. And then number two, I'm gonna flatten out the driveway so that the driveway is level where the wheel will track, so it will keep the gate at the same level the entire time. So what I did, let me show you over here. So down here with the gate, it's got a little hole here. And I got a piece of pipe that was about the same size as this, maybe a touch smaller, but it still wouldn't go in. So I went ahead and I cut it with the cutoff saw, and so I could make some fins in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that in the hole and push down on the fence. Now, I'm by myself today, so I may have to actually take the gate off the hinges. However, I prefer not to do that, but if I have to do that, what I'll do is I'll set it down on a couple bales of hay, and then I will pound the piece in to put the wheel on. So my first goal is going to be try to just get it in here to begin with. All right, so here's the piece of pipe. You can see the slits that I put in it. Get a little closer look at that. So what I'm going to do to begin with is just take the hammer and tap them in just a little bit to make it a little bit smaller so it will go up inside easily. So I'm going to use my trusty hammer and this 4x4 just to kind of give every one of them a little tap in. So the goal is to take this piece of pipe, put it up in there, push it down on one of these so that it goes up in and is snug up inside there. Okay, well, it's going to go further than I thought it was. It pushed in a lot further than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to go in and snug up and stay. So what I'm going to have to do is pull that back out. Let's see if I can do it. Let me get a bale of hay to hold it up. See if I can pull it out. All right, so now what I need to do, I need to find out where I'm going to have to drill a hole here and put a bolt through. So I need to make sure that I am at the correct height. Okay, so what I did is I set the gate on a bale of hay, moved it around until I got a level across the top so it's perfectly level coming out. Then what I did is pulled the pipe down low enough that the cuts are still up high, but I can connect this wheel. This wheel, what I'm going to do is wrap it around it, tighten it up so it bends in, and then with this little hole, I'm going to put a couple of self-tapping sheet metal screws to hold it in place so it doesn't come out. Now normally, the way these mount is they mount up around this knuckle, but I don't have enough, the wheel's not long enough to do that. That's why I had to get this little post to begin with. So the goal is to wrap this around the post, cinch these down, a little hole here, a little hole here. I'm going to put a self-tapping sheet metal screw. But before I do that, I need to put I need to drill through here so I can put a bolt through here to hold this together so that it doesn't go up and down. Before I drill this, I'm going to go ahead and put some tape around there just because that pole can move in and out a little bit, and I want it to stay stationary while I'm drilling because I need to drill through the outside and through the inside. So I'm just going to put a little bit of electrical tape around here. Okay, so I had some bolts laying around, some stainless steel bolts. It's a little bit long, but I'm going to use that because it's actually going to be the correct size. So I'm going to, I've got some washers, also some nylon nuts to put on. So I'm going to use that as my bolt because I didn't have one. Okay, so I am going to tighten this down with my impact wrench. Just going to snug that up. All right, so this is pretty wide, and I don't know that I can sink it over, but I don't know if it's still going to be tight. So these little pieces, I'm going to actually use this as an insert to give me a little bit more clamping power on the nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up on here, put my bolt through, then I'm going to use my impact wrench to tighten it up and see how tight I can get it around this post. And I'm going to do it on both to make sure that if I start to sink it down, it doesn't throw the other one off and I can't get the bolt through. Let me show you what this looks like before I tighten it up. Now I'm going to check my level across the top to make sure I'm still level before I sink this wheel down in its permanent spot. Alright, so that seems to be on there pretty good. So I feel like that's pretty solid. I was going to use a self-tapping sheet metal screw through the small hole to hold it better, but I think that's going to hold pretty well on its own. So worst case scenario, I can always add it later. So now what I need to do is I need to get the ground level. So I'm going to have to get the tractor, bring in a little bit of gravel where it's low, and make sure that it's straight across. All right, so I got some gravel down and got it evened up so it's even all the way across, but one thing I didn't notice until now is this. I have got to spin that wheel to the inside, so I'm going to loosen it up. I'm glad I didn't put a set screw in there. So I'm going to loosen that up, spin it to the inside, and make a mark so I make sure that it still stays level, and tighten it back up. I'm going to wipe everything down with acetone very well. All right, so I've wiped it several times with acetone, and now I'm going to begin spraying.
We're on the final step of our gate, and that is to put some lights that we purchased on the tops of the poles. So these solar lights that we got are pretty cool because they actually come with different adapters so that you can put them on 4x4s or 6x6s or whatever you might have. It has those different adapters to it. It also comes with the screws to attach it to the post. So the gate's painted and it looks fantastic. And now we ordered this really cool looking sign, which we will put a link to that in the description below, and it says Be Free Acres, and I love this sign. It's a metal sign.
All right, so we got the gate done. Works well, it's looking good. The initial few issues that we had, I think we've got taken care of. Got the wheel on, that's holding everything steady. So we are in good shape. Got the sign on the front, Be Free Acres. So we're ready to be free. For more videos like this, you can go to our channel and check out some of our playlists. You can also check out our website at www.befreebenson.com. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give us a like, and don't forget, subscribe to our channel. As always, doing things yourself at the Be Free Acres allows you to be free. See you in the next project.